Welcome to the Postville Yeshiva Alumni Podcast, where alumni share memories, experiences, and life lessons with the current Talmidim. We hope you enjoy. And we officially welcome you to the Postville Yeshiva Alumni Podcast.
I feel very welcome.
Baruch Hashem. Okay, so introduce yourself, say what years you were in Postville, what brought you to Postville, and everything in between.
My name is Chaim Kudan. I am originally from Albany, New York, and I was in Postville, Iowa, Masifta, years Tufshin Ayin Vav and Tufshin Ayin Zayin. The Yeshivas Kayat, the summer prior to Tufshin Ayin Vav, I was coming out of Shir Aleph Masifta age. I was in ninth grade in the Jewish Hebrew Day School in Albany, New York. Which is a Chabad-run day school. But it's half day English, half day Hebrew, starts at 8 a.m., ends at 3:30 p.m. And I wasn't sure what I was going to do that summer. I had a couple friends who were, I don't know how they heard about Postville, but they did. And they were signing up for the Yeshiva's Guides. That was what they were doing for the summer. So I was like, let's do it. Sounds like a plan. So I came. I think it was like 6 weeks or maybe less, maybe more, 6 weeks. And I had a good time. And when I was coming back at the end of the summer, I just couldn't imagine myself going back to that Hebrew day school setting. I was like, from a social standpoint, from a Hasidic standpoint, or whatever you want to call it, I felt that my next move was to go to Postal. So I think it was probably like 2 weeks before this month started. Shockingly, Postal had an extra bed waiting for me with my name on it. And that was it. The rest is history. I got on a plane, then another plane, then a bus, and we arrived. And 2 years later, I popped out. Uh,
Where'd you go
that's
after
pretty much
that?
my postal story. After that, I went to Montreal for 1 year. Um, my beloved was pushing me to go to Benoit, and I actually applied, but my record didn't speak for itself. So we ended up going to Montreal. Then we went to Miami for a year. Then I went to Shir Then I spent 2 years on Shlichus in LA Masifta. And that is my yeshiva journey, ultimately. Yeah.
And then after that, after you got married, what were your shlichus, different positions that you currently have?
So after I got after I left LA, I joined the Aleph Institute. I still am with them. I do a lot of advocacy work for people who are incarcerated in the federal prison system,
What does that mean?
specifically.
What is advocacy? What does that mean? Advocacy.
So, essentially, what it is that we try to help people out with many issues that would pop up for them in the prison system. So, um, uh, I deal specifically with federal facilities in the Northeast region. So if somebody gets picked up from the FBI, let's say, and gets thrown in the federal jail in Brooklyn, which there's been a lot of famous people there recently. Sam Bankman-Fried, the Jewish one, but a whole other famous individuals over there in my prison. Um, so he gets picked on the street. He needs kosher. He needs tefillin. Or Pesach's coming. He needs everything for a seder. Past that point, people need transfers. They need, they're transferring either because they're going in from a higher security to low security, or the other way around, and they want to make sure that they're being transferred in a timely manner. They want to make sure they're getting to a facility closer to their family, not further. For eligible cases, we work to get people out earlier, meaning if you are fine with them living on your block, then we would help out. Otherwise, we wouldn't. But there's mechanisms to get people out earlier to either a halfway house or to home confinement. Um, and that kind of thing. So, helping families out with visitation. There's many challenges that someone can encounter while in prison, obviously, and we do our best to help them out. We help
People reach out to you first, or you already have your tabs? You know who's going in, who's
people reach
with.
out to me. So I'm in direct contact with inmates. Their families reach out to me, or colleagues of mine will reach out to me, or their rabbis will reach out to me. Um, but yeah, generally speaking, these requests are coming from themselves.
And then you,
And
you you call up the prison, or you have to do it in writing? How do you communicate with them?
yeah, emails and phone calls with chaplains, associate wardens, regional directors, um, pretty much the whole chain of command within the federal prison system.
So this is you started as a bacher. You started doing this already.
I started doing that as a bacher, out of Shlichus,
Where did you
and
get
I
the
still do it
training for
now.
that? Who taught you how to do that?
Uh, on the job,
They
like
trusted
everything
you on the
else.
job. They trusted you on the start off to do such important things already.
I told them I went to Postville, and they were like, "That's all we need to hear." No, I had a couple interviews with them. They made me write a sample email, that kind of thing. It wasn't too rigorous of a process, but
Did you
I
show
don't
them
know.
your award from eighth grade? You knew your state
Exactly.
award.
That was the first thing I did.
The Bachman don't know. Chaim won a New York State, entire state from the Goyim also, a writing contest or something. I don't know how to write. And was without AI. He wrote it on his own.
This is true. To this day, my emails contain 0% AI generated content.
Really? No, garnished. Aha. Okay, so then you're on Shlichus now somewhere else, didn't you? You were working there for a
It's
while
true.
now.
I'm lucky enough to be a Shliach Rebbe in beautiful Truckee, California.
Truckee.
Um,
Yeah,
Truckee.
Truckee.
This is true.
We have a few Californians here. You're Long Beach, right? How far is it from Long Beach?
About 8 hours.
Oh, wow. You're all the way north.
I'm all the way north. I'm about 15 minutes from the very famous Lake Tahoe. When people think California, they think palm trees and sunshine. My area of California is pine trees and snowfall. Just had 5 feet of snow outside my house a couple weeks ago.
Oh, wow.
Um,
5 feet of snow.
yeah, yeah.
Five.
Now there's like 0 feet because it rained and it's 50 degrees outside. Um, but yeah, we have a lot of very very famous ski resorts over here. The Winter Olympics were hosted in a resort half hour away from me many years ago, and that's where I got married 2 years ago.
So
But
why'd you leave Crown Heights if you're working in Aleph? Why'd you want to go on Shlichus also in Truckee, California?
so the short answer is that I had a newborn baby, and we were living on a fourth floor apartment with no elevator. So it gets very hard to schlep up and down children with strollers, groceries, etc.
So that's the reason to go on Shlichus.
So that's why we moved out on Shlichus. Uh, no, it's obviously I think a dream of most people to move out on Shlichus. I can't say I was um, sitting and dreaming that I would open up my own Chabad house. For most of my adult life. Um, but there was a need identified here. There's a lot of Jews from the Bay Area that come here, and a lot of Jews that moved here since COVID. And I checked out the place, and it was clear to me that um, this mission was being given to me whether I dreamed about it or not, and that whether I thought I was the best person to do the job or not, the Rebbe clearly did. So um, I went ahead, and Baruch Hashem, we're having a lot of Hatzlacha so far. We've been here since the end of Tishrei, and yeah, it's been great meeting a lot of Jews.
So who's the shliach that you work for? Under who are you?
So my father-in-law is the head shliach of Northern Nevada. I'm right over the border.
Who's your
Um,
father-in-law?
Rabbi Mendel Kunyan.
Mhm. Okay.
So I'm either under him or under Shlomo Kunyan, whichever
And
one you prefer. I signed
who's,
contracts with both of them. So
who's the closest shliach to you?
the closest shliach would be my brother-in-law, who is the shliach to the University of Nevada, Reno.
How far is that?
A half-hour drive.
Oh, not so far. Okay,
People
so
have it a lot
back
worse
to,
than me.
yes,
People have it a lot worse than me.
like Postville. Coming back to your Postville years, so share some memories of Postville, the fun, the good, the bad, the ugly. What do the Bacham want to hear?
There was only good and ugly. Um, yeah, Postville was transformative for me. It was my first real authentic yeshiva setting, which might be shocking to some to hear that Postville was my first real Chabad Lubavitch infused experience. I mean, I obviously my family is Lubavitch, and we grew up in a Chabad run day school, but it's the immersive atmosphere, being with people from like living with people from like Lake Tahoe and this kind of it's a whole different world. Um, so it was it took a few seconds getting used to, but it was amazing. The best years of my life, absolutely, without a doubt, were Postville, and since I got married, equally great. Um, and um, we had a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun. A lot of crazy people. I would say I was more on the tame side, but there's definitely people who were mamish insane and did things that highly not recommended. And we verbringed, we said l'chaim. Uh, we learned a little bit, maybe, and it was great times. The verbringings and Rabbi Levin Silas were always top tier, and a lot of good memories. Baruch Hashem.
Are there any things that you actually learned, either by Farbrengens or Gemara or Chassidus, that still sit with you until today that you still remember, you still fall back on?
So first of all, I remember there was one verbringing that you said you were shocked at, or maybe it was feigned shock, but you were shocked that there were some Bachrim who would not say Karbanis before davening. You were like, I don't even know how to like say start with half, start with some, start from Asim Kaim. You're like the whole thing needs to be said. So I don't have like I don't have a like a 12-step program for you to get into saying Karbanis. It's like it needs to happen. So from that day on, I have never missed a day of saying all Karbanis, no matter what time of, no matter how many minutes before Shkia I was davening Shachris. Um, so that's one thing that definitely carries through me day to day. A lot of nigudim that I learned in Postville. I remember there was I forgot the name exact. It's like the tnua of some chassid. Nine 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 nine. So that again, that memory is very strong, um, and yeah, I would say a lot of like a lot of lachluchas is I don't know if I could point to necessarily bits of information, um, but a lot of Hasidic life has been instilled in me, and it definitely carries with me the day to day.
Another question I want to ask, I haven't asked too many of the people on the podcast yet, but you kind of answered it. Would you think that years in yeshiva are a waste of time? For a bracha doesn't really learn much.
Um, uh, I would not say that because the Bucker who doesn't learn much in yeshiva would not be learning much anywhere else. Ultimately, there's people who, by nature, are more disciplined, more academically inclined. There's people who aren't, and obviously, everybody needs to grow in their own areas. And the fact that somebody's not naturally academically inclined or disciplined doesn't mean that they can't be. But ultimately, to think that they would be somehow more resourceful or useful to themselves or to the world because they're being useless in yeshiva, if you change, and this is a lesson that I have learned time and time again. If you change your own atmosphere, it doesn't change you. So any problems that an individual might be dealing with, generally speaking, I don't know if this is the 100% rule, but generally speaking, just changing where you are, or the situation that you're in, isn't going to be the number one solution. The work needs to be done inside yourself. So, if you're being useless, you might as well be useless in yeshiva, which gives you the spirit, the energy, and the mindset that anything is possible. I think yeshiva really gives you an anything is possible mindset. Um, and much better to be useless in yeshiva than to be useless in anywhere else because ultimately, it'll all turn out just fine and well. Just,
Hmm.
find a therapist if you need. That's,
Um,
I'm
okay,
serious,
moving
by the way.
on. Oh, no, the welcome understand that very well. Don't worry.
Right, I'm saying though there's a big stigma on mental health. We have
But Baruch Hashem, it's not a stigma somewhere. Many of the
okay,
Bacham have personal therapists that they
okay,
see once a week, either on their phone or different Zoom, different finding.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
me too. I just have to work out my insurance, but
But what you're a therapist, you're a social worker.
no, 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 no. It's like I need work. I can't afford to pay the guy.
Uh-huh. Okay, we like to ask, what's your favorite sikha?
My favorite sikha. First of all, ever since I did Halikot, I think the first year that Halikot was launched, I was in Shir Beis Zal, in Miami, and so that was the last year that you were able to do it. And that year was Chel Chaf, which I think is the rotation every other year, or however they do it. So the whole Chel Chaf through Chavdal is just incredible, incredible stuff. Um, Obviously, Alf through Dalit is also just absolutely incredible. That stuff just never gets old. Um, there's one Sikha Purim Katan, I think in Chelik Aleph, which I like very much. Speaks about it's the key to happiness is having a das rachva, understanding that physical happiness is very short term, very short lived, and that you're not necessarily are you deserving of all of the kindnesses which God has bestowed upon you. So take a moment to recognize that, and essentially those two factors are the key to happiness, which is um, great, great, infinite knowledge, obviously.
Mhm. Favorite mitzvah?
Favorite mitzvah, um, giving tzedakah.
Oh,
Not that I have any money to do it, but it is good. It's good to give money to people who need it. It feels good to do that. Giving tzedakah, Lulav and esrog is fun. I love sukkahs. Sukkahs is the best. Sukkahs is the best. So anything sukkahs related,
mhm.
um,
The
anything sukkahs
Bacham are
related
saying
is
I asked a second to the best because you're like the fourth or fifth person saying that tzedakah is their favorite mitzvah. So they want to hear
really
something new. Yeah, everyone's
wow.
everyone. A lot of people have said it. Yeah,
Sukkahs great.
apparently
Yeah.
something
Um,
good.
yeah. No, I love everything. Everything sukkahs. Everything sukkahs is me. Um, that's great. That's great.
Simcha Pesach Sheva.
That too.
Mhm. What? One second. But before we move on to the Bachman's questions, what's a message you would tell the Bachman that are sitting on yeshiva? So if you'd be able to talk to yourself when you were 15, 16 years old, what would you tell yourself, tell the Bachman that are here now? What would you want to hear?
Um, I would say that mornings. I don't know. I'm gonna lose my popularity card over here, but mornings are the most important part of the day. You could wake up earlier and maybe sneak in a nap later, but ultimately, if you get up early enough to grab the day by its beard, then you're put yourself in a infinitely better position to be successful in the same amount of time that you might have been awake earlier. So even though you might have, you'll wake up at 10 and be ready to roll at 11, or you could wake up at 8 and waste time until 11, or eat breakfast, take a coffee, or take a run. But ultimately, you will be in a much better position to be successful during those following hours from 11 on than otherwise. And I will say, physical exercise is not a um option. It's not optional. It's a requirement. You have to physically exercise if you want your brain, your mental health, your physical health, your spiritual health to be on par. So if you're not doing any physical exercise whatsoever, then think about something incremental that you could perhaps do. Maybe take a walk while you're listening to something, or you guys are young. You should be walking. You should be running. You should be really running. Yeah.
Okay, the Bachmaster questions, no?
What's the crazy stuff you've done in Postville?
What's the craziest stuff you've done in Postville?
I was a pretty tame guy. I'm saying I think most of my you know
Change the question.
lack of disciplinary behavior was probably alcohol related. So there was a lot of that, but I did I know, like stealing Shlichum's cars and climbing the water tower, and I left that to other people. That was,
The guys did it in your times.
yeah.
Yeah, all those kind of stuff.
Who's your favorite hall member?
They want to know who's your favorite Anhala member
And why?
and why.
Rabbi Gabriel Levin, absolutely 1000%. And it's his good looks. That's why.
Why?
I'm a vain person.
Do you still write anything? You used to write, remember the newsletter you used to write for us in the yeshiva?
So when I have time, I do write my weekly email to the 30 people who sign up to receive it, and to my mother, who's the only one who actually reads it. But when I don't have time, I just take whatever Chabad.org has generated for that week. But
Second, you write a weekly email like a part on the parsha,
yeah, exactly.
So what would be your part on this parsha? Or last week's parsha?
So last week's parsha was actually my bar mitzvah parsha, Kisisa.
Oh.
Yeah, Rabbi Levin's and I's birthday are one day apart.
What?
That's nice.
This is true. So I basically wrote what was my bar mitzvah speech about how it's at the end of Zaytze Bracha, at the end of Torah, that says how basically lauds Moses' lifetime accomplishments, and it ends off the miracles, the wonders that he did in front of the Leini Kol Yisrael, in front of all the Jews. And Rashi says it's referring to breaking the luchos by the golden calf, which happens in this week's parsha Kisisa. It's not necessarily so intuitive why Moses breaking the luchos by the golden calf was his greatest moment. At the low point, you would think, in Moses' career, not necessarily a highlight. But not only does it make the highlight reel, it's the crowning accomplishment of his life according to the Torah, and it explains how the Moshe breaking the lucha is analogous to a king who is betrothed to a future queen, and he goes on a business trip and he comes back, and he hears rumors that the queen was being unfaithful, and the minister rips up the marriage contract and says there's no contract which she violated, so you can't punish her. And that's what Moshe was doing, is that he was breaking the contract of that you shouldn't serve any other gods or serve idols. So God could not wipe out the Jewish people. And ultimately, the reason why that's so great is because Moshe's whole life was dominated by Torah. His whole identity was Torah. Torah's Moshe, the 5 books of Moses. Moshe's whole entire life was Torah. That's what he taught. That's what he lived. That's what he breathed. That's what he ate. And for him to put that aside, for him to break the luchos, for him to break the giving, what he was given by the time of the giving the Torah, in putting his love for the Jewish people in front of him, that's what showed what a great leader he was. So that's Obviously, we know about the Rebbe. All the Rebbe wanted to do was to learn Torah all day, and obviously he took time out from that in order to help out the Jewish people and to help out us. And there's a Chaf about that, the Mordechai and the Rogachover and the Balvi Yerushalmi. But ultimately, we can make ourselves a little bit more uncomfortable to help out our fellow.
Oh yeah. Any other questions? I think we're done.
Okay.
Huh?
Favorite food. What's favorite food?
Hey, what's your favorite food?
My favorite food. Has to be a food, not a drink.
No, both.
Okay, so drink would be hard kombucha. It's an alcoholic kombucha. It's great. I live in Northern California. Can you tell? And my favorite food, I got depends on my mood. Yeah, for bison, cheesecake, chicken wings, different times. Nobody wants to know what my beard routine is. Okay, fine. I'm not offended.
All right, Chaim. Really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Stay
Okay.
safe.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you.